So in Humphrey's Executor, the Supreme Court looked at the FTC and asked whether Congress could restrict the removal power of the president to remove executive branch officials in administrative agencies that are exercising executive authority. It arose in 1935 when administrative agencies were relatively new creations. It actually arose out of President Roosevelt's desire to fire one of the Federal Trade Commissioners who was unsupportive of the New Deal. Roosevelt asked Humphreys to resign twice. He refused to do so. So in 1933, President Roosevelt fired Mr. Humphrey. While his case was proceeding, he sued the president saying he should be entitled to his job, but he died in 1934. And so that's why we get the odd case name of Humphrey's Executor. The holding in Humphrey's Executor was that Congress could restrict the removal power of the president over federal trade commissioners. The Federal Trade Commission, which was a multi-member agency designed to be independent, exercised, at least in the court's view, no part of the executive power. So Congress had instituted both a 7-year term as well as restricted the president to remove members during that term only for good cause. And the Supreme Court said that was fine. No arm of the executive was at issue in the Federal Trade Commission, despite the fact that Section 5 talks clearly about enforcement and gives the commission the authority to investigate and even issue cease and desist orders. In fact, Justice Sutherland, writing for a unanimous court, actually said that it would violate separation of powers principles for the president to be able to remove federal trade commissioners because those commissioners served as legislative and judicial aides. I think Justice Sutherland's opinion is a sort of inversion of how we think about things today. If you look at later cases in which the Supreme Court has looked back to Humphrey's Executor, the court has clearly cabined that case and said Humphrey's Executor, whether rightly or wrongly, viewed the FTC as exercising no part of the executive authority. And when you think about an administrative agency, it might be possible, as the Humphrey's Executor court posited, to have a purely legislative agency that simply submits reports to Congress. But when we're talking about an agency like the FTC that is charged by statute with enforcing consumer protection, fraud, and business laws, then that starts to look a lot like an agency is helping the president take care that the laws are faithfully executed.